Welcome back to Hope at Dawn. This is Hope TV, where you look and you live, and we promised you that once we are back, we'll be having the conversation of the day. And today being a Tuesday, it's all about encouraging one another in this journey, because you know, even the Bible says about the afflictions, you will face all forms of trials, tribulations, but the good thing is that the Christ Jesus overcame, and so equally we will also overcome. And this morning we are discussing living with thyroid disease. That is what we are discussing this morning, and I know that by the end of it all, we will be better than we are right now in as far as information and getting to know about this particular disease is concerned. You can be part of the show, Hope TV Kenya, across our social media platforms, and also we are live on YouTube as well. That is on our Hope TV Kenya YouTube channel as well. We are live, so you can share that link with your friends, with the people that you feel they need to be listening and hearing this conversation. And to help us, we have Sarah Katulle, and she is the founder of TDAC. She will be telling us more about that organization, and so looking forward to a wholesome conversation this morning. And so without further ado, allow me to welcome Sarah. Good morning.
Good morning.
Fine, thank you, and it's good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you for having me. My first time on the show. I'm truly excited for the conversation.
Karibu sana. It's a pleasure. Thank you for that
it's so good to be here.
This early, you know.
The cold.
Yeah.
We thank God. We
Awesome.
thank God. If we're able to help even one person out there listening, then I think we've done what we're supposed to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So first things first, a brief introduction of yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Sarah Katulle. First of all, I am the founder of the Thyroid Disease Awareness Kenya Foundation, which is what TDAC stands for.
Yes.
And the organization basically creates thyroid disease awareness. Thyroid disease is a very it's a complex disease as much as it is foreign. Many people don't know about it, and because of that, I thought to come and start having that conversation. Of course, having been a survivor myself, I have gone through the disease. I was diagnosed with thyroid disease in 2011. At the time, I had just given birth to now she's a teenager now, but then she was a couple of months old. I started experiencing these symptoms that were strange, were weird, and every time I'd go back to the doctor's office, they were not able to diagnose it. I'm explaining the symptoms, but they sound weird and strange to the doctor. Of course, once a woman delivers, you have to keep going back for checkup with your gyna. And so I'd go in after every 2 weeks. He tells me come. After every 2 weeks, I go. But then by the time it was like 3 months into it, I had lost so much weight. I had completely dried up so that I could not even breastfeed. And I would go and I tell him, I don't know why I'm feeling like this, doctor. My heart is beating so fast. My skin I was not looking like myself at all. And I'm getting weaker and weaker. And it's not that I'm not eating. I am eating, but I'm feeling weaker. I'm shaking. But then this one incident, a story that I always like to share a lot, is when on this particular time when I'm taking my daughter to the clinic, she's a few months old, I go and I get into I had her on a carrier bag, umbrella on one side and the diaper bag on the other hand, and I'm going to get into a matatu. I go and step into a matatu and I slip. What? And I fall under the matatu. And at the time in my head, I'm thinking, I've done the step of kupanda the matatu. But the baby is so heavy. Actually, I thought I was pregnant again because I'm shaking. I'm not strong enough. So on getting under the matatu, somebody from the other side screamed, a lady screamed, and the matatu came to a halting stop, got back, got up. And at that time you're numb, and the first instinct a mother has is to protect the baby. So I'm over there protecting my baby. I had a few scratches on my elbows. Then I decided, actually I'm not going for this clinic. So I went back home. And at that time now, I am mad, I am angry. So I left the baby back, and then I went back to the doctor. This time I put my foot down. I said, I am not leaving this office until you tell me what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
So as I am, he's trying to do everything that he could, calling in the lab techs in there. He saw my neck, something protrude on my neck. I literally turned like this, and he saw my neck, something protruding. He looked at me, akaniambia, Sarah, ebu meza mate.
Yeah.
Then kumeza, he saw something go up and come down. He's like, now I know what your problem is. So from there, I can say that's when my journey started.
Yeah.
And then, of course, again, that wasn't easy. I'm in and out of doctor's office. I'm seeing this particular doctor. I've seen all sorts of doctors. None was able to really help to balance my hormones. By the time I got in the hands of the right doctor, it was almost 7-8 years later.
What?
I have taken all sorts of medication. Of course, it's also an emotional disease because you are, every day you have to overcome those symptoms, and they're not fun symptoms to live with. Thyroid disease is not a fun disease to have. So so from then my journey started in 2018. They were able to go in there. As you can see, I have a scar. So I finally did the surgery, and after that I can say thank God I've been okay. I'm not on any medication. So but it's through that process where in the process I actually lost a childhood friend of mine to the disease. She had just given birth, just like me. But the symptoms that I was going through, she was going through, but she did not know. So she succumbed to the disease after she just had left a month, I think a 3 or 4 months old little boy. So that scared me. You know, on this. I felt so numb. And then you start asking yourself, God, why me?
Yeah.
You know, and because she was living outside of the city, I was not able, I didn't know, because had I known, I would have held her hand, Kamambia, come, I think I know what your problem is. So that really hit me really hard. And so I went into depression because of it. And then, of course, some other issues I was going through in my personal life. The depression sent my disease even further down the rabbit hole. But God is amazing. God's grace is just amazing. Through prayer, my parents, my family, they supported me. I was finally able to go for the surgery. So it was between that time, I could feel my friend come back. Sometimes I'd feel like she's speaking to me, she's telling me, you need to help other women. You need to make sure that nobody else loses their life to this disease. And I would like, no, I don't feel like I need to, you know, because I'm a very introverted, funny thing, I'm a very introverted person. Just that because now I'm a little bit vocal about this, people don't believe that. Then the time I decided I have to do something. So I started the foundation as a Facebook page. It actually started as a Facebook page, just creating awareness, because every time you go, someone is asking you, Sarah, what did you do? Where did you go to hospital? What medication did you take? So I thought, those are the ones that I know. You know, how about those ones that don't know and need to access information? And so that's how the journey started.
Wow. And that's intense in itself.
It is.
And you've mentioned in these two scenarios that it was after childbirth. So what actually leads to it? Is it a complication, or what really happens?
It's a lot happens, but I think it's because of the hormonal changes that we as women go through. You know, you get pregnant, your hormones are in one direction. When you're almost giving birth, your hormones, your body is getting ready to give birth. Then when you deliver, your body has to go back to its natural rhythm. We go through a lot hormonally, you know. So I think sometimes some women are unable to their thyroid gland. First of all, let's even define what a thyroid gland is, so that we begin for starters. So the thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped gland. It looks like this. It's right here below the Adam's apple. And the thyroid gland secretes certain hormones that literally help bodily functions. Everything that happens in your body, whether it's your metabolism, whether it is temperature, whether it's your heartbeat, whether it's growth development for young kids, thyroid hormones are very, very key and crucial to the body. And that gland, sorry, at any given time, those hormones are always supposed to be balanced. So at any given time, maybe if the thyroid gland is triggered to overproduce hormones than your body requires, or it underproduces hormones than your body requires, then we say you have a dysfunctional thyroid condition or you have thyroid disease. It's as simple as that. So meaning that anytime your thyroid gland should be normal. Now, what makes it normal? It's your body's needs. There are times when you get sick, for example, it tends to overproduce hormones to meet the need of the body at the time because you're taking medication, your immunity levels are on another level. So at that particular point in time, you will find that your hormones could be high. And then when you're pregnant, for example, your thyroid gland actually overproduces hormones by 50%. Right? So, and that is part of the reason why we're creating awareness, because I know that not very many women who are pregnant get tested for thyroid hormone, which is very important. And part of the awareness that we are doing is to make sure that if you're planning to get pregnant, you do need to get tested. If you are pregnant, you do need to get tested because the fetus uses the mother's thyroid hormone. And if it is not sufficient, then the child has what we call congenital thyroid disease, or they might be born with that thyroid condition, and then again they're also not tested, so they grew up with issues. It's a wide, complex thing. So we really honestly cannot even finish it like with one session.
Listening to you, then it sounds like women who are expectant are mostly at risk.
Yes, because at that point in time, there's a lot of hormonal changes. That's true. But I like to say that everybody is at risk as long as you have a thyroid gland. I like to say that we have aped a lot of the Western lifestyle. So we are eating their foods, we are living the way they live. But when it comes to us getting the diseases that they get because of how they live, for us now, we are under-equipped as a country. We are under-resourced. We don't have we don't even have enough doctors, for instance, to treat the disease. The medication is expensive, but most and above all, the awareness is not there. We don't know. We don't know much about it. So because of that, all those lifestyle changes, they do, and we are creating awareness now because even when I was diagnosed back then, the disease, it was there, but it was not as rampant. But lately, the numbers are high, and they are not discriminating whether you're a child, whether you're a young person, whether you're pregnant, people over the age of 65, everybody is at risk of having the thyroid condition. So I could say yes, it affects more women, of course, than men, but men do get. I have men in my organization. They do get the disease, and but I think it's more on the side of women because of the many changes that we go through hormonally.
And how can we ensure that, in terms of even prevention or in terms of making sure that we are keeping our hormones at balance, what are some of the practical things that people can do in terms of their diets, in terms of supplements or anything like that to make sure that, we are not exposing ourselves to the thyroid disease?
Well, in terms of, first of all, I'm always a campaigner for voluntary testing. Just go get tested. I always say, if you've never heard what thyroid disease is, just go into a hospital, go into a lab, get tested, know your status. I think that's where it's reached, where it's no longer an option anymore. In terms of lifestyle, we know about the inflammatory foods. Inflammation is one of the key triggers and factors that trigger thyroid disease. There's, of course, stress. There's the aspect of genetic predisposition, but that is not as much as your diet and your lifestyle, and when you're eating a lot of junk, if you're eating a lot of inflammatory foods, that can trigger. Now, with thyroid disease, there is an autoimmune aspect to thyroid disease. And autoimmunity basically is when your body is fighting itself. You know, there's when your body begins to not fight the outside, or say the outside infections and the viruses and the bacteria, that's how God created our bodies to do. But then when there is a dysfunction in your immunity, so that your immunity is now attacking the healthy cells, that's when we say you have an autoimmune condition. And that autoimmunity can affect anywhere. You see, like with people who have arthritis, it's just your body's immunity eating the life out of your joints. Yeah. If you have a skin condition, now for the thyroid disease, for example, it is when your body is attacking your own thyroid gland, either causing it to overproduce hormones or wearing it down, so that it's not producing enough hormones. Because of that, now we can say you have autoimmune thyroid disease. So a lot of people will focus on treating the thyroid disease, which is okay, but I always say it's like you're solving part of the problem. A lot of it goes back to your diet and lifestyle. Diet means what? Eating whole foods. You know, avoiding all this junk that is around, eating whole foods, working on your gut, replenishing some of the nutrients that your body is lacking, because a lot of times if you have an autoimmune condition, it means that there are nutrients that you're lacking. And because of that, then you need to replenish them. And thank God now we have supplements all over. So it's just about learning about it. And then we have what we call functional medical practitioners nowadays in the country. We have plant-based medical practitioners as well that can be able to help you and to guide you, so that you're also not doing it blindly. Because what you think you need may not necessarily be what I need. The trigger is totally different. You could be having a nutrient deficiency because of something that you're eating maybe, or where you live, you know. So because of that, we are not all the same. And now having all that information helps. It makes it a little bit easier, so that when you're treating, you're doing targeted therapy. You're targeting what is in your system, or what your system needs, as opposed to doing it blindly.
Early diagnosis is important, and you've talked about going out there and getting tested and all. What are some of the symptoms to look out for? Early symptoms.
The early symptoms for thyroid disease. So thyroid disease can be very subtle. When it starts, you will tend to sweep a lot of these symptoms under the carpet. So each condition, hyperthyroidism has its own type of symptoms. Hypothyroidism has its own type of symptoms. So for hyperthyroidism, like me now, it is when I started feeling weak. You're just fatigued. You're tired. But thyroid tired is not the normal kind of tired. It's a tired that is 24/7, like you feel like you do not want to do anything. No, for hyperthyroidism now, it's like because your body's metabolism is working so fast, you have energy, too much energy, but you're also utilizing that energy twice as fast. So for example, for me, when I realized that I had a condition, and when I started drying up, is when I would eat, and then I go to the washroom, remove it, come back, feel hungry, I eat, I go to the washroom, I come back, I feel hungry, I eat, I go to the washroom, like that. It's a vicious cycle. It keeps happening like that. But as I'm eating, I'm not adding weight. I am becoming thinner. My skin becomes so coarse and dull and dry. I lost my hair. You know, my nails became frail, right? And then, of course, now, so, I mean, that is the physical aspect of it. There's also the emotional aspect. You are anxious, you are moody, you are edgy. I have a doctor we work with who says every time she's diagnosing patients, if they're married, they say, come, she said, tells people, come with your spouse. Because they need to be there to understand what is happening with you, so that they know how to better support you. Because sometimes somebody will just get angry for no reason. Especially the people that you're used to seeing. If it's your spouse at home or your colleagues at work, you're like, this is not the person that I married, or this is not the person that I know. You know, they're edgy, or something small triggers them. And then something small can make them cry, like you just cry out of nowhere. You're just like too emotional. So that's the hyper side. The hypo side is the opposite of the hyper side. So you're not eating, but you're adding weight. And when you add weight, that weight becomes very difficult to lose. And then because your thyroid hormones are not really penetrating into your cells, so that means that your muscles are achy, they're tired, they're weak. There's a time I went into the city center and I hadn't known about this, and then I decided to use the washroom, and I literally could not even, I was shaking, I could not even use the washroom, especially those lower ones. You can't. You can literally fall. That's how weak your joints are, and anything small, ukigongwa, you feel like your bones have broken. So it's I'd like to call it sort of a degenerative disease if it is not arrested early. It destroys each and everything, and of course now your gut health, which is like the top part of any disease. The gut health is normally affected a lot. So you have IBS, you have bowel, the bowel movements are not as regular, and all that. So
wow, it's quite challenging.
It is.
You know, I'm trying to imagine you just got a newborn, and you know, months into it, this is happening, and having to now balance the whole thing with what you're going through, and even the whole situation of this is a newborn, so he or she, I don't know the gender, but needs a lot of care
and attention.
And attention at the same time. Going through all the frail of emotions. So, you know, our show is called One Day at a Time. And, you know, I just love to ask at this juncture, how did you take it a day at a time? What kept you going through this season?
Oh, that's a good question. Because with thyroid disease, as I said, it being an emotional disease, you literally live a day at a time. But with thyroid disease patients, sometimes it's like you have no you have no vision, you have no focus, because overcoming today is just as important as going to shower. You know, getting out of bed, going to shower is a task. You pray for victory for that. You getting out of bed, just getting yourself out of bed and putting your legs on the floor, you feel like you're dragging your whole body. You feel like somebody has put like 10 sacks of potatoes on you because of the fatigue. It's really, really bad. And then trying to arrange your day, figuring out, I have to do this, I have to do this, at this time I have to do this. It's very challenging. So of course you pray a prayer at a time. Every hour you're like, okay, God, thank you, at least nimemaliza hiyo. By the time it is the end of the day and you've sat down and you have finished the whole day, you're like, okay, God, at least I know you're here. So next tomorrow. So like it's like you have no vision. You never have a vision. The idea is, how do you overcome the symptoms on a daily basis? And it's very difficult. You mentioned about like having a child. You know, even when we give birth, it's also emotional for us. You know, it's not easy when your brain is constantly thinking, what should I give the child? What should I give the child? What should I give the child? You forget about yourself. So that fatigue, it's like there's something that goes off in your brain, literally. I think your brain shuts off and you're just there. You know, you're just going by with the flow. You're not present. It's hard for you to be present because you're at a place where your emotions are not allowing you to, you know, and it's very challenging. I don't even know. It's so complex. Sometimes it's hard to explain. If a thyroid disease patient sits down and tells you what they go through every day, they will be all over the place. Sometimes it's hard to even understand yourself. When it comes to having a condition like thyroid disease. Yeah.
Yeah, wow. We are hosting Sarah Katulle. She's the founder and CEO of Thyroid Disease Awareness Foundation Kenya. And I told you that from the time we began, we will be different by the time we are ending the show, because we are learning a lot about this disease. And yes, not so many people are aware about the disease. And so we are trying to create that awareness. And we'll be continuing with the same in as far as creating awareness and what the different parties they need to do, the different people, the different organizations, the government, the ministry, all, so that we can be able to create that awareness in as far as thyroid disease is concerned. Right about now, we are taking a short commercial break, and then we are coming back to continue with the day's conversation.
Are you ready to go? Every day we ponder this question because every day we are going somewhere. How about if we went there as ambassadors? Please prepare to join us at Sitam Karen from the 3rd to 6th of September 2024 for the Send Me 2024 Mission Conference, as we seek God to empower us to go into the nations, into the marketplace, into the mission field, and into the ministry opportunities around us every day. Register for the Send Me 2024 Mission Conference at sitam.org.
I've actually been trying to find a balance. It's been really tough and hectic, but everyone says once you get a hang of it, it becomes better, and I don't know, but I'm hoping to find a balance soon because it's really been hectic. But you've been in the job industry for a long time, so I think you would know better. Cindy?
Huh? What time is it? I need to catch up on Leadership Forum. Do they have a radio here? Never mind. I brought my own.
No way. You can't be serious. Wait, why do you have a radio and you can just catch up with the shows on Hope FM podcasts?
Really? Even Meet of the One?
Yeah. I mean, you can find them on whatever platform, name it. AfriPods, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it.
But I'm not subscribed on any of them.
So no worries. You can just check out the latest episodes on hopemediakenya.org.
You can now listen to select Hope FM programs on your favorite podcast streaming platform or directly on our website, www.hopemediakenya.org. Listen and live.
Rafiki soul is a promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond what angaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. Rafiki soul is a promise of a hand that reaches and goes beyond what angaza tumaini kote. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu. I'm forever grateful. Ninashukuru ukarimu, ukarimu.
Friends of Hope, keeping hope alive.
All right, we are back, and of course, we are having such an amazing conversation. I mean, so much awareness right here. We are learning a lot, and definitely, this is what we do on one day at a time. We handle persons with disabilities and also chronic diseases because we believe that creating awareness is so much important. I mean, if doctors cannot automatically diagnose, it has to take a whole process, then that means we need to talk more about it. We have Sarah with us today, and she is really opening our eyes to a lot on the thyroid disease. And we were just talking about something before we went on break, and that is about the point to where it now necessitates a surgery. That now, you know, we've tried to balance the hormones, it's not working, and then now we have to go the surgery way. You know, at what point do we get there?
First of all, and I've always told my patients this, is that with surgery, you should not go for surgery unless those hormones are balanced. So any doctor, wherever you are, those hormones must always be balanced before you're told, now this is the next course of action. Now, unfortunately, with thyroid disease, you cannot get one service under one roof. So you have to work with the specialists, which we call endocrinologists, right, who are very few in the country. And then now from there, they will be able to guide you and place you in the hands of a surgeon if surgery is needed. Now, surgery is needed in cases where you've seen people with like necks, swollen necks, very big goiter. Sometimes you'll find that that surgery is needed. And then there are times when the gland, because every time there's an attack, there's inflammation, and inflammation means swelling. So that means the thyroid gland, whatever is triggering it, it causes it to swell. So if it swells too much on the inside, sometimes it can sit on very important nerves, or like your windpipe, your vocal cords, or that when you're swallowing, you feel pain. You know, so many patients complain about that. So in cases like that, of course, surgery is needed to remove it and to make it easier for the patient to actually live and survive. So with surgery, once the hormones are balanced, then you will be taken to either a thyroid surgeon or a general surgeon that has a very good track record of doing successful thyroid surgeries. Because I always say that you just don't let anybody or anyone touch you. We have cases of people who've permanently lost their voices, right? People who have succumbed. I have lost patients because of that malpractice, where, you know, a doctor just thinks, this is something very easy, you know, you just go in, but it is seated in a very sensitive area. So it's not something that you just go in. No. And so what we are doing, even as the organization, is that we've partnered with doctors, we've partnered with surgeons who we know, whom we trust. So most of the surgeries that we have done have always come out successful. Last year, we lost a patient in December, and she had just gone into a hospital somewhere in Nairobi that I will not mention. And, you know, the doctor just went in, and I don't know what happened. When she came out, she did not finish the night. She passed on. And we've buried patient because of this disease. And that is what you're trying to prevent, first of all. So of course it becomes so hard and challenging to see patients losing their lives to a disease that can be treated. So with surgery, it does work. It is a form of treatment for thyroid disease, but mostly hyperthyroidism. In my case, for example, they did what they call partial surgery. So the thyroid gland looks like this. So they remove one side and then they leave the other side for my body to use. So I'm using, like now I'm operating on half a gland. So after I did my surgery, I knew, and I decided that I was going to adopt a healthier lifestyle so that I can support the remaining gland to support the needs of my body, you know. So yeah, I think that is what I'd say about thyroid surgery, but it's important for any patient wherever you are, because just the other day I had a case where a patient has lost their voice. She has just come in from surgery. Somebody just went in, didn't know. They know they've messed it. They know they've messed her, and then now they're trying, unajua, like kumpeleka hivi. So, and then that becomes even difficult to correct, because now after she came to me and I want to take her to our doctor is scared of touching the case, because it's you're already messed. It could be you come in, maybe now at this point in time you could lose your life. So I always advise that before you go for surgery, make sure that you have asked all the questions and you have eliminated all the risks that you possibly can.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, you're seated there and you're very strong. And you look, you know, cool, calm and all.
Yeah.
But what was your toughest moment in this whole journey, and how were you able to overcome?
My toughest moment was during that year, I think after I got diagnosed.
Yeah.
And then right almost after, I lost my friend. And my daughter was just like a couple of months old. So she was depending on me. And at the time, I was going through a lot of issues in my marriage as well. And I would go to bed and I would groan. You know how, was it the mother of Samuel, when she was groaning for her son? I understood, for the first time I understood the definition of groaning. It is when you're crying and you are trying to bring words out of your mouth, but you can't, the words can't come out. But somewhere, somehow, that is a prayer.
It is.
God hears the tears. There's a song that says he hears our tears because our tears are words to him. And I would groan on the edge of my bed, and every time, I remember my daughter would walk in and she would not understand what is going on. Then she'd just storm out. You know, they're kids. She would storm in, find me in a situation where that seems like, then she would just go out. And I would understand that, of course, she does not understand what is going through. But at that time, you're looking at them and you're like, I feel disempowered. I feel like I'm not able to give you what you need. So then what should I do? And I thank God that even through it all, I had support from my family, mostly my family, my dad, my mom. They would pray for me. It was those moments where you call my mom. I'd call my mom in the morning and she would talk to me. We would pray over the phone. She would tell me scriptures, go read the scripture, go. And the devil is such a thief, because by the end of the day, all that is gone. Everything we talked about in the morning, then I'd need a refresher to give me something to go to sleep.
Why?
It happened for months. Sometimes she would wonder, what is happening? What is going on with you? Don't you take God's word? Don't you believe? I'm like, do you know sometimes it becomes a challenge where you don't even have that faith. You don't have the strength to pray. And that is now when you need the people around you to bring their candle of faith to, you know, to hold and to support you. So, but when I got out of it, my dad would tell me, Sarah, remember the story of Job? Because Job was in turmoil for the longest time. But when the devil decided to flee, aliendaga kama amendaga. Yani he never touched him again. And when God came to restore, he restored, of course, 7 times, as we know. So I'm still in the restoration phase. I still thank God. I tell God, you're not done restoring. I'm still expecting more. But healing your mind and having peace of mind, to me, is priceless. Now I know what it means to have peace of mind and heart. And only God can give you that peace that he says surpasses all understanding. When you're going through situations like this, and I said, you come and stand at the center of my house, and I have seen him. Oh, I have seen God. I always say, give me your testimony, but I have mine. I know God is real, and prayer works, and God answers prayer.
Wow. This is so refreshing. I mean, it's the, you know, the word of God when it says that you will go through the fire, but you will not be burned. Like,
not be
the
burned.
flames are not going to consume you. You go through the waters, the waves will not overwhelm you.
Amen.
Because now you're standing, now you're here, now you're sharing your story. And then there's now this organization coming into play. And maybe now let's talk about the beginning of the restoration and also, you know, moments after the surgery. You know, what was it like, you know, feeling that, okay, I'm getting into this theater, but now I'm actually out of it. So tell us about the emotions after that.
You mentioned going to theater, and I remember I was not sure I was going to come out. So I when I was being wheeled in, I was crying, and then my sister was on my side. She's like, "Oh, don't cry, just go, don't cry." Then she starts crying, and then so I went in, and I came out, and thank God it went well. I had a good doctor, and when I was discharged, when I came home, I was, you could start feeling the impact, of course, the time. And when you have a thyroid surgery, at first your body goes into shock when you are healing, because now it has to adjust to working with half a thyroid gland. So that is also not easy. So I can say that I did experience some hyper symptoms. It's like you go through this phase, so you go through those sadness, depressive states, and then you come out. But then, because I had started empowering myself also in terms of information, knowing what to do, what to eat, and even though I didn't have much information, the little I had, I utilized it. So I started detoxing. I started working on the health of my gut, and then I realized how important working on your gut health is to your emotions, how it literally affects your brain, and the feel-good hormones, as they call them, the serotonin hormones for your brain. And then I decided this is where I'm going to stick. So as I continued working on my health and replenishing the nutrients, I started feeling better. And of course, you know, when you're feeling better, it helps to, you now start having a vision. You start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, as they say. So, but with the organization actually started even way before. I started helping people before I healed.
All right.
Wow.
You know, I started creating awareness before I'd even gone for surgery. But when I went for surgery now is when now I decided, okay, I'm now going to go and do this full-fledged. And seeing your life experience being able to impact the life of somebody else is truly, truly rewarding. There's nothing as satisfying as that. So we started growing Pole Pole. It started as a support group because, of course, I didn't have support. Myself, I didn't have support. I was figuring out everything by reading, doing research, and trying and erring. But with the patients that are now like finding us in the organization, they're able to find a lot of support, which I didn't have. They have shoulders to lean on. They share stories with one another. They are able to support one in every aspect, including financially. Sometimes they'll go out of their way. Somebody will buy medication for somebody else. When we lose a loved one, it affects us all, and we're able to support, you know, the family. So it's been a very close-knit family. But the aspect of creating awareness is that the empowerment that comes with it. And when a patient says, now I know what to do. Now at least I know where to start. And I know which path to take. That helps to shorten the disease phase, let me call the lifespan of the disease. So a patient doesn't have to take 8 years like I did. You know, they can take a year or even less when they know what to eat, they know which doctor to see, they know what medication to take. right? And then you just keep feeding them information and then giving them that safe space, a support system. That's how the organization began. Now I can say we are a full-fledged organization. I have a WhatsApp group that is full. We have scaled across a few counties. We've partnered with hospitals and doctors that are able to support our patients, especially for inpatient. Now, our patients are going for surgery using their NHIF card, which was not there. Thyroid disease treatment in this country is ridiculously expensive. It is so expensive, and it becomes a challenge for the patients who have to buy medication every day. So if you're diagnosed with a thyroid disease, just breaking it down is that first you do the test every month, and then you buy the medication, and then you have to consult. So not less than 10, 15,000 every month or every other month, maybe, for a patient, if you want to get like good quality treatment. So of course that it can be a lot for some people. So you find that there are patients who actually don't consult. When they skip 1 month, they continue with the whole dose, and then they skip 1 month, then they go. So it makes them like stay in that disease phase longer because of lack of funds to be able to support themselves. Because sometimes you'll figure out, am I going to put food on the table, or am I going to... That's the challenge we go through as a women. I have kids, they have to go to school. Maybe most of them are single mothers. So you're like, do I buy milk or do I go and buy a packet of medication? It becomes a challenge. So as we are rallying to see how this can be adopted as a policy issue, so that more attention is given to it, and so that all the stakeholders can see where they can be able to come in to make this load a little bit lighter for the patient. Because we are just an organization, but I think the bigger aspect is now it being looked at from national perspective.
As we bring our conversation to a close because of time, talk to someone who has any condition, disease, and they feel, I'm limited. I'm impeded by this, and they feel, the easiest thing is to just throw in the towel and give up. Would encourage them this morning?
Throwing in the towel for a Christian is not an option. If God says that He will see you through the waters, He will. And I know sometimes it's very hard to take God at His word when you're going through the waters, when you're going through difficult, challenging times. But God answers prayer. You just need to hang in there, keep praying. If you're not able to pray, have a support system, have prayer warriors that are able to stand with you. I can attest that I had prayer warriors standing with me, praying for me, and sitting in that discomfort long enough for God to come through for you. And He always does. That's one thing I know. God always comes through. So keep trusting, keep believing, and keep having faith in His word.
Amen.
Beautiful. And I believe someone has been encouraged this wonderful morning. And maybe someone is also asking themselves, how do I become part of your organization?
Let them know. We are at Thyroid Disease Awareness Kenya on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. On X, we are at TIDA Foundation. Our home, of course, is at tidafoundation.org. You can go to all the information there. You get in touch with me, I'll be able to see how to guide you and place you in the right hands, or even just give you a little advice and a little encouragement.
Sarah, you're a warrior.
She is.
For
she
sure.
is.
Thank you.
And going through it, I mean, it was not easy. It took long. 8 years is a long time.
It's funny, there are people that have gone through it for even 20 years. Some have lived with it for 30 years. So But we thank God. We thank God that now the awareness is beginning to.
Yeah, at the end of it all,
Yeah.
I mean, we have a testimony to share, and we
Yes.
have a chant of victory to say, you know what, I was there, but through Christ I overcame.
Yes.
That is so beautiful. And of course, we are winding up the show, but if you could have just any last word that you would love to tell the people, this would be your time.
Any last word is, what would I say? Be encouraged, but we're also looking for support. I always say that as a TIDA Foundation, it might be my idea, but it's not about me. It's about the patients out there.
Yeah.
So we're calling out for any stakeholders to just come try and help and support us, help another person. There are people without medication, there are people that are struggling, and we would want to support them. So if you can support us, reach out to me. I'll also be able to get in touch and see what we can do or partner together. Yeah.
Winnie is asking on YouTube if the thyroid can cause cancer.
Yes, there is thyroid cancer. You just mentioned it. Oh, thanks. You just reminded me.
Yeah.
It is Thyroid Cancer Awareness Month in September this month.
Yeah.
It's Thyroid Cancer Awareness Month. So yes, it can.
Yeah.
So I would always, I'll actually, what we're doing is creating awareness about thyroid cancer and saying, if you have any lump, anything that looks like a swelling on the neck, do not ignore. Whether inakusumbua, whether it's painful, whether it's not, go have it checked. Let them go, do a biopsy and test and rule thyroid cancer out. So yes, it can.
Yeah.
It can. It's very possible.
Yeah.
But there is treatment if it is arrested early, and it is one of those cancers that it's easy to treat. It's an easy cancer to treat if it is arrested early. The prognosis is almost like they say 98%. So it's not a death sentence for a patient that is suffering with thyroid cancer if it is arrested early. So it's good to get tested.
Yeah. Can we have the office line maybe, or a number that people can call?
You can call me. I am on 0722 839 827. That's my personal number. But there's also the office line that I have not named very well. But
you're comfortable, people calling.
They can call me. But also on the social media platform. I think that's where I put a lot of very useful information. So that would be awesome if they could just reach out there, ask questions. I'll be sure to respond, no matter how long it takes. Because sometimes you can get overwhelmed.
Yeah, maybe we can just say that number one more time.
0722 839 827.
Okay, so that is 0722 839 827.
Yes.
Awesome. So if you need any information, you need any help, please do not hesitate to reach out. And you also mentioned something very important, that people can actually get tested early for it.
Voluntary testing. It's very important. If you can, if you've never had your thyroid gland tested, I always say just know your status. That's what you're saying. Know your status so that you know what to do from there. If you arrest it early, there are people who just take medication and they are good. If you arrest it early. So it doesn't mean that you have to go for surgery like me. For me, it's because I didn't know and because it took long.
Sure. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's an honor. Thank you so much. It's been good to be
that
here.
was something.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
And we are better people, better equipped.
Yes.
To help ourselves, or also to help those around us as well. So thank you so much. More grace.
Thank you.
As you serve. And may God connect you with great people as well, so that you are able to permeate into the different parts of the country.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much, EJ. Appreciate it.
And thank you for tuning into the show. I know also you have been blessed. Thank you so very much. Make sure you're sharing the link so that someone else may benefit from today's conversation. Thank you.
Absolutely.
For now, we need to call it a day. And this is also to remind you that we have the Send Me conference that officially kicks off this morning at Sitam Karen, and we'll be continuing all through to Friday. It's all about, the mission work, the mission field, and equipping the missioners to be able to go onto the field and propagate the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so you need to be part of this amazing conference. conference. And so you can get, you need to register first of all, and all you need to do is to visit the CITAM website, the CITAM social media platforms as well. There will be a link there shared, and you'll be able to register, and then you can attend the sessions, and they are free, by the way. The entrance is free. Amazing speakers, and of course Bishop CITAM Bishop Callisto Dede will be one of the speakers at the Send Me conference happening at CITAM Karen.
And there'll be food.
Yeah, by the way, there'll be food. Yeah,
There will be food. Refreshments will be there. And even talking about the Send Me, I think what I love most about today's conversation with Sarah is the fact that you have gone out there.
Yes.
You know, we are talking about going out there to propagate the gospel. But for you, Sarah, you've gone out there to create awareness. And I believe many people are having hope because of that step that you took. So I'm just so grateful that you answered the call, because you just never know how many people will be connected to your story.
Thank
and
you
they
so
will
much.
receive the healing.
I am so humbled. Thank you so much.
So may God keep blessing you.
Amen.
Amen. And we've come to the end of the show, unfortunately. But I do hope that you enjoyed yourself. We enjoyed ourselves and we had a good time. It was a refreshing interview. Sarah is such a breath of fresh air. And speaking from that place of victory is just so good, because we see the hand of God in each and everything. And that scar that she has is just a reminder of God's goodness.
True.
It sure is. It sure is. So tumeka funga, and we'll see you guys tomorrow on the Christian Walk. My name is Beatrice Ludi.
My name is George Gishoro. See you tomorrow. Blessed day.